He's the one who brings joy because he's the one who brings freedom. For the yoke of his burden and the staff for his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor you have broken, as on the day of Midian. Israel at the time of Isaiah was under a heavy burden of oppression. That's the context for mentioning Zebulun and Naphtali to begin with, because those are the northernmost tribes in Israel, and those were the parts of Israel that were conquered first. There's contempt mentioned in verse 1 because they fell so easily. The rest of the tribe said, oh, great. Why did we ever put our faith in them as though they could protect our northern boundaries? They also were the first ones to feel this oppression and conquest. And that oppression of being under the rule of another nation led the Jewish leaders of Jesus' day to believe that the Messiah king would destroy all of those kingdoms that kept them down, most notably Rome at the time of Jesus, right? But remember the context of Isaiah chapter 8. The conquest of the nation by Assyria and Babylon was the direct result of the people consulting everything but God for their problems, trying to find their own solutions. And so the chapter ends, and they will be thrust into thick darkness. Some translations say utter darkness. See, darkness in Scripture is always referring to a lack of revelation of God. But here the people are thrust into utter, thick darkness. That's a general term for death without God. Why? Because they never turn to God. They become a land of death, according to our passage. Because they never turn to God, the only one who can save them. Remember our statement from Jonah last week? Salvation belongs to the Lord. Sin creates distress in our lives. It creates a bondage for us. And its ultimate outcome, its ultimate result is death, the ultimate oppression for humanity. It is the ultimate prison for us. But freedom cannot be manufactured from within a prison. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, imprisoned by Hitler during World War II, wrote to his fiancée of one of the lessons that he learned from prison. He says this: a prison cell in which one waits, hopes, does various unessential things, and in which one is completely dependent on the fact that the door to freedom has to be opened from the outside, is not a bad picture of the Advent. Bonhoeffer understood that there is an oppression to life that is unredeemed. There is a hopelessness to shaking your fist at God and pretending that you can somehow make your own freedom. If you are unredeemed, you cannot make your own freedom. When you are in prison, the only hope that you have comes from outside the prison. The light must come from someone outside that door. See, sin is oppressive. Its final end is death. It is a hopeless affair. And there is no one on the inside of that prison who has the keys. Not one. But there is one outside with keys. There's a free gift of salvation from that utter darkness through Jesus Christ. He is the light that has come and opened the door from the outside. He's the one who brought an end to the oppression, Isaiah says. He is the fulfillment ultimately in Isaiah 61. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and the opening of the prison to those who are bound, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. This is the hope that Isaiah ends with. There is good news. There's liberty for the captives. The prison is being opened up from the outside. This right here is the passage that Jesus quoted at the beginning of his ministry at the synagogue. And he said, "It has now been fulfilled in your hearing. I'm here, I'm it." He says in Matthew 11, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Learn from me, he says. Isaiah said in chapter 8, don't listen to the false teaching, go to the Word. It's not oppression to go to the Word, to go to the testimony. It's light because it leads to life. It's the way. It's the truth, not scrambling around trying to create truth. It is truth. He is truth. He is the life. And because Jesus' yoke is life, in him then we find rest. His burden really is easy. There's no more burden from having to perform. There's no more burden of knowing for sure if my destiny is certain. Knowing whether or not death will ruin everything for me. The tension is all released now. There's joy because I know I'm a victor. It's all freedom now. And he's the one that brings that freedom.